Ready.
Good evening. I will call to order Wilisonville City Council meeting for August 17, 2020 at 7:05 p.m. and request a roll call, please.
Councilor Linville?
Present.
Councilor West?
Present.
Council President AKERVALL?
Here.
Councilor LEHAN?
Here.
Mayor Knapp?
Here. So a pledge of allegiance is next. If the council would please join, and if the staff in the chambers would please lead us.
Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I'm open to a motion on order of agenda, keeping in mind the discussion that we had about removing item E from the consent.
Mayor, before you go ahead on that,
Your mic is off.
To maybe save some time, if any counselors could identify those minutes that they want to make corrections to, we could keep the rest on the consent agenda, and then anybody who hasn't read them or wasn't here can abstain on those that they're not comfortable voting on.
I don't think that'll save time, but if that's how staff wants it.
So is there more than one minutes that need correcting?
I don't know. Council, are there corrections to more than 1 minute? Is there more than one correction to make to minutes in the consent? Councilor Linville.
No, Your Honor, I just had a correction to the June 1st, 2020 minutes.
Okay, so we'll move those on to the regular business then. And then we can do the rest on consent.
Have you read all the minutes, Councilor Linville?
Yes.
Then you can vote on all the minutes on consent.
Even those that for which I was not present.
That's my understanding, because it's action of the board, not an individual. So you can vote on them.
Okay, very well. Thank you.
Did you get what she said?
Yeah, so we're removing June 1st, 2020 to new business under A.
Okay, is there a motion with regard to order of agenda? Councilor President AKERVALL.
Yes, I move we approve the order of agenda with the adjustments described just previously.
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
So Barbie.
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 5 in favor, unanimous. Okay. First thing up on mayor's business is next thing here. I lost my notes already. Is the vacancy we have on Planning Commission. We had a midterm resignation on Planning Commission, and we had a few early applications, and we decided to advertise more widely and see if we could pull in some more applications. Let me just say we did. I've interviewed either 19 or 20 people in the last couple of weeks, and we have a nice diversity of people to draw from. I first want to say that I very much appreciate all the people that have applied, and they each and every one has something to offer, and it is frustrating that at this point we only have one place to put one of these volunteers right this minute, but I have told everyone that we will likely have more openings at the end of the year on our regular cycle, and that we will look forward to having them talk to us again at that time if they are still interested. The other thing is that several of these people have not been fully aware of the Citizens Academy, and I've had a discussion with several people that seem like they could benefit from that and would bring more strength forward having participated, and I think there is interest. So I've turned over some of those names to the staff that's working on next session for Citizens Academy. At this time, though, I would like to recommend to you Ms. Brianne Tusinski, who is a person that is part of a three-generation family here in Wilisonville. She grew up just outside of Wilisonville, but this has been kind of her town since very early on. She's trained as a real estate appraiser and does real estate appraisal work in the residential and commercial fields. She has spent time working, well, first of all, she had a university training in political science, and then she got involved in some lobbying work, and all before she got trained as an appraiser. So she's done quite a diverse set of things. She has also been following what's happening in Wilisonville and is cognizant of a variety of the different planning efforts that are going on, have been going on, and the issues before us. So I feel that we can benefit strongly by having a voice from a person that has a long experience in town, even though she is a younger person and has some professional training that I think will come to bear also. So I would like to recommend to you Ms. Tusinski for this balance of the term. And I think Kim sent out an email with the numbers or the dates on the term, which I don't have right in front of me this moment. But let's see, I should also say that I asked her if she would like to, I left a message to asking her if she'd like to say anything tonight. Kim, did we hear from her on whether she wanted to join us tonight?
Your Honor, she is on the line.
She is on the line. Okay. Would you like to hear from her first, or should we vote first? If she's on the line, I would like to invite her to come in and speak to us so you could meet her. Someone's helping her, I hope?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello?
There you go.
Hi, we can hear you.
Okay, you can't see me. I don't know why. Start video. There we go. Hi.
There you are. There you are. Good evening.
Hi, my name's Brianne. I'm really excited to have the nomination to be on the planning committee. Planning is something I'm super interested in. I've been kind of trained in various things with real estate and knowing zone, like different zoning and that kind of stuff. So it's something that I know a lot about, and I'm looking forward to taking part in this. So.
Well, great. We're looking forward to having you there. Council, would you like to say anything to Ms. Tusinski? Man, we don't need to right now. Thank you for coming forward, and thank you for being willing to invest the time in your community. I think that you will add a lot to the process, and appreciate your time and commitment on that.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be a part of this. I can't wait to get started.
All right, sounds good. If there's no questions from council, I will ask for the motion. Is there a motion? Councilor Linville.
Your Honor, I'd like to move to ratify the appointment of Brianne Tusinski to the Planning Commission for a term beginning August 17th, 2020 to December 31st, 2022.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilor AKERVALL?
I'll second.
Second, moved and seconded. Any other questions? If not, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated to appoint Ms. Tusinski to this Planning Commission position, please say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5, unanimous. Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to working with her. All right. Second item on business, I believe we have a request from representatives of the city of Aurora to speak to us.
Aren't they here? Is there someone out in the lobby, Gina? Yeah, you need to, Is that? Are one of you gentlemen representing the city of Aurora?
Oh, he's not here then.
So we don't have anybody from the city of Aurora here to speak, Mayor. And nobody online waiting.
All right, because we had thought they were coming. If
They had indicated to us that they were going to speak. So we have nothing under that now.
Yeah, okay. So the other thing I have normally is upcoming meetings, which have all been Zoom meetings, and they've been just fast and furious, it seems like, though the majority of my time the last couple of weeks seems like it's gone into these interviews, which is time consuming. We end up taking 30-plus minutes with each person, plus arrangement time and getting onto Zoom and doing all the stuff. So it's quite a bit of time to be able to talk to everyone. It's also very important, I think, that we do talk to the citizens that want to volunteer. So it's fun to talk to everybody, but 20 people in one shot is a lot. I don't think I have any major meetings immediately upcoming. Next week, we have Metropolitan Mayors and the Small Cities Consortium, and there's also some Metro meetings going on, but I'll report on those after they occur, so I don't think I need to take more time on that right now. We have a communications item up next where we have the Oregon Department of Transportation, something on the tolling. Are they here?
Yes.
Hey, good evening. Are we on? Good evening.
Yes, Ms.
Hi.
Broussard. Good evening. Thank you for joining us, and Mr.
You're welcome. Good to see you again. Good evening. We're going to do a short presentation this evening regarding the I-205 project. I have Matt Delata here with me. He'll do the analysis portion. Matt, you want to go to the next slide, please? We'll make it, we'll try to be efficient with your time. And the next one, and the next one. There we go. So I just want to say thank you. We appreciate you giving us some time this evening. Want to talk just a little bit about the I-205 and give you a project update. I'll do a very short slide on I-5 also. So we're talking about I-205 between OR 213 and Stafford Road. The value, pricing, feasibility analysis that was done in 2017 and ended in late 2018 looked at many different configurations for tolling, and the recommendation came back for the I-205 just at Stafford Road to OR 213. We did lots of stakeholder engagement, as we're doing now, talking to agencies, partners, and the public about what does that look like long-term, and was that the right termini or the right endpoints to start tolling. We heard a few things that we keep carrying through, and we're hoping that we're working on these things, but we heard these things and we continue to hear them. So it's low income. How are we going to handle low income communities, improving transit in the area, or as some would say, providing transit in the area, and also diversion, which is a really big one, and that's one of the ones Matt will be discussing this evening. Next slide, please. Here's the project area. As I said, it's Stafford Road to OR 213. The gold is the Abernathy Bridge. The rest is just the project site. Next slide, please. Here's where we are. We are at the beginning stages of the environmental review process, and I do mean beginning stages. Right now, we're in the 45-day comment period previous to getting into the official environmental review process. Next slide. Oh, can you go back one? I'm sorry, Matt.
I didn't remember this deck. What I want to say is this 45-day comment period, you see at the bottom it says public input needed throughout. Well, right now we're in that 45-day comment period. We're going out, talking to everyone, trying to give the update of where we are. These are just very initial findings. There's a deeper dive that would happen during the environmental review process. So Matt's going to give you what we've done during the screening process, and it's really high level. The next deep dive is during the environmental review process. Next slide. Now I'm turning it over to Matt so he can get started. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Lucinda. So I'm going to talk through the purpose and need and goals and objectives, and then jump into the results of our screening analysis to date. So overall, the project purpose, it's a dual objective: manage congestion on I-205 between Stafford Road and Oregon 213, and raise revenue to fund congestion relief projects. The Oregon Transportation Commission, the OTC, will make the decision about what the toll rates are, but the idea is to have this kind of balanced objective and find this sweet spot. We'll be using variable rate tolls that are higher when there's more congestion during the peak hours, and lower during off-peak periods. In terms of the project need, this is kind of developed through previous work. The regional congestion is increasing. Most of you already know that. I-205 between Stafford Road and Oregon 213 shows 6 hours of congestion daily, and the northbound direction is one of the top bottlenecks. Funding is not keeping up with the need in the region for congestion. We have a long list of objectives for this project. Equity is really an important part of this project and integral to our evaluation. We're looking to limit additional traffic rerouting, supporting safety, improving air quality, multimodal transportation choices, economic growth, travel demand management, and integration with the future tolling system. So this is a long list of goals, and they're wide-ranging, but they're all part of the project. So I'm going to jump into the screening alternatives analysis result at this stage. So at this point, we have 5 different alternatives. Like Lucinda said, we're growing off the value pricing feasibility and that concept that came from there. We're trying to take a step back and see if we can do better than that initial concept. Are there toll configurations and gantry locations that could produce better outcomes than that initial idea? So the first alternative on our list is coming straight from the value pricing feasibility analysis. It was concept E in there, and now it's our alternative 1, and that's tolling on the Abernathy Bridge. That's really pretty easy to understand, relatively easy to implement compared to some of our other alternatives, but it's one toll rate at one location, so it has limited ability to manage traffic demand. And what we've seen in looking at that alternative is there's potential for a concentrated rerouting effect through Oregon City. Alternative 2 is really kind of a 1B. It's a variation of that where we capture potential for rerouting of through trips. For the purposes of our evaluation, it's essentially equivalent to alternative 1. For alternative 3, we basically split the toll between 2 different locations: the bridge over the Tualatin River, as well as the Abernathy Bridge over the Willamette River. So for a through trip, it's essentially the same, but for a local access trip that's getting on in between these 2 bridges, they pay half the cost. Extending that concept further is alternative 4, which splits the toll cost across 4 segments. That sort of gives you the maximum flexibility in the long term to manage traffic demand along the corridor, but it's more complicated to communicate to users. And our 5th and final alternative is a single zone toll, where everybody pays the same amount regardless of how much they use within the piece of I-205 between Stafford Road and Oregon 213. So these are those same alternatives, just in visual form. In alternative 1, you see the single point toll over the Abernathy Bridge. In alternative 3, you split the toll between the 2 bridges, toll both of these segments. Alternative 4, you have the 4 tolled segments. And then in alternative 5, the single zone toll. With in this alternative, there'd likely be gantries at each on-ramp and then in the mainline entry points. So at this, like Lucinda said, at this point, this is a pretty high-level evaluation that we're doing at this point, but we are looking to consider a lot of those goals and objectives that we're moving towards. Not all of them, but we're looking to have a perspective on it. So we're looking at the transportation system demand, how much are people driving. We're looking at traffic on I-205, what the volume is on the corridor, what the diversion effects are, how much rerouting occurs. how much changes in demand there are, looking at cost and revenues, and then some qualitative considerations about implementations and operations. So we went through each of these alternatives and we're comparing them against each other to see which of these could perform better. The no-build alternative, the no-toll alternative is not included in here, but it will be included in the NEPA analysis when we get into more detail. So all this is leading towards our recommendations for what we study in a lot of detail in the NEPA evaluation. That's really where we get into the more detailed analysis, like Lucinda said, for things like traffic rerouting impacts. Based on our screening alternatives analysis, we've recommended that alternatives 3 and 4 get advanced for further study in NEPA. So that's the alternatives that split the toll either across the 2 bridges or across the 4 segments. We've got much more detailed information available on the project website, including the technical analysis that went into these recommendations. And at this point, we're going out to the public and the stakeholders and asking, are we making the right recommendations? And looking forward to hearing your feedback on how to move this ahead going forward. Yeah.
Next slide. Thank you, Matt. Just as we're doing this briefing here, we have a lot more to do this summer. We're trying to make sure we get the word out. The comment period started on August 3rd, ends on September 16th. We are doing I think we're doing a webinar tomorrow, 4 to 5, and we're also doing one on Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30. So we're trying to do the webinar. We have an online open house. We're actually, it's our way of not being in person. So we're trying many different ways to reach people, and our in-person is held off until further notice. So next slide. And here's what we're after, your comments. You can see here we have some dates and times, the webinars I told you about, but www.organtolling.org is a great place to take our survey, look at that technical information Matt was talking about, and actually post your comments. But you can give your comments by email, voicemail. Any way you'd like to get them to us, we'll accept them. Next slide, please. And that's the end of our presentation. So, Marinette?
Well, thank you so much. I know I've been in several presentations you folks have done and very much appreciate the outreach. You're aware there are opinions prevalent in Clackamas County at this time that more study needs to be done. I participate in the Clackamas County Coordinating Committee meetings, and that group has sent just in the last few days a very detailed letter asking for significantly more analysis and kind of study of the impacts of the proposal. And Washington County has sent a letter from the Region 1 Area Commission on Transportation asking for a broader stakeholder engagement in funding alternatives, not just tolling. And so with all of those things and the fact that you're gathering more information, I guess I would like to ask, who will decide and when will they decide whether to take any of those requests formally and make any of those adjustments? Is that up to the Oregon Transportation Commission, or how does the process work?
So we'll be gathering all the comments together. We'll present those to the Oregon Transportation Commission. We'll provide a recommendation. So actually the team will look at all the comments and map those out and then move them forward.
Okay. And so that'll be in the fall, or?
We're hoping that we get done September 16th, so probably not until October, November.
Yeah. Okay.
Depending on how many comments we receive.
Right. Okay. Council, would you like to ask any questions, clarifications? Councilor West.
You're muted, Councilor West.
How about now?
Yep.
Okay. Matt and Lucinda, thank you so much for coming before us today and to give us an update. I'm glad to see that ODOT is acknowledging that toll diversions will be an issue. I think they're especially an issue for Wilisonville. In our country roads, I don't see they can handle them. We already are split in two by I-5 and have major traffic concerns and issues in this city. It's a big deal. All of us on the council have heard it. And I see a lot of overflow from diversion into our community. And I think that hurts Wilisonville. So I'm very concerned about what you guys have acknowledged as toll diversion. Have you guys looked at what happens to property values where there's tolls nearby those communities and those assessed values of those properties? Do you guys ever talk about what happens to properties and how they often decline when they're closer to tolls or impacted by tolls? And then in Oregon, people can go and reassess their home values when they've gone down. I don't know if you guys have looked at that.
So we are getting a study that was done. We believe that someone did this study, but I have heard many pieces of it. And one of them is property values do not decrease around toll roads. They actually increase. But we're trying to get that study so that way we can provide it and we'll put it out on the website and I'll send something to let you know when it's out there.
I would love to see that because my research has showed otherwise. Are you guys doing dynamic congestion pricing? I don't know if I caught that in your, or is it fixed like how they do it in Texas?
No, we're doing variable pricing. We're not doing dynamic pricing. That works well on managed lanes when there's only one lane or two lanes being tolled and there's still general purpose lanes, but we're tolling all lanes, so it's not dynamic pricing.
So if I'm in the car and I'm on the way to a hospital at Kaiser and I'm on my way there and I'm on 205 and it won't just change on me randomly in the middle of the day based on usage or demand. It's just, I know it's going to cost me X amount of dollars when I go through that.
We have planned to make it peak times would have a price, off-peak would have a price, so you would know during that time period what the price would be, unlike dynamic pricing.
Okay, will this increase and improve any capacity for Westland-Wilsonville area in any way? Or are we just tolling freeways without getting any increased capacity?
Matt, can you answer that?
Yeah, at this point, the tolling is, we're still working on refining kind of the relationship to the I-205 widening project. So that's one possible funding. This is a possible funding mechanism for the I-205 funding. Off the system, we've not assumed any differences between these alternatives at this stage. So there's a consistent bar of comparison across all the different alternatives.
Have feds given us permission to toll federal highways?
That's the process we're about to start, which is the National Environmental Policy Act, the NEPA that we were talking to, or the environmental review process. We're doing that now, and they have given us a designation to do an environmental assessment. So yes, we are working with the feds.
Thank you for your presentation.
Sure, thank you.
Other questions? One of the points of discussion that has come up repeatedly is the question of whether the money collected on that corridor will be spent on that corridor or might be spent on other corridors or other places. And I think that you've had that discussion, have you not? And could you address that?
Sure. So I did bring that up to the commission. I think it was Thursday was the meeting. The days are running together, I'm sorry. I think it was Thursday about money received on a corridor, staying on a corridor. We're coming back next month. I'm bringing with me an expert on revenue and toll revenue and net revenue. But yes, we're looking at doing that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Questions or comments? Probably not right now, but there may always be more, and those surveys are open. Can you tell us that web address again?
www.tolling.org. No, www.oregantolling.org.
OregonTolling.org.
Yeah,
okay.
One word. Thank
you so much, both of you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Mayor, we do have Mr. Schaefer, the Aurora Planning Commission Chair, in our Zoom virtual lobby now, if you would like to hear from him.
Yes, I think we can go back that one step if we could. If he's available now, why don't we do that?
Right.
This was the mayor's business item that we'd skipped over because we weren't ready.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We don't see you.
Oh, okay, let me look for, there we go, start the video. How's that? Okay.
Saw you for a second. There you are.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Again, Joseph Schaefer. I'm the chair of the Aurora Planning Commission, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the city regarding the Marion County decision to approve the application by TLM to convert what we know as the former church camp to aviation and office uses. This is the formerly wooded property on Airport Road next to the airport. And I wanted to thank your team for the help they've given us on the airport issues over this last year, especially Greg Leo and Mark Ottenod. Dan Pauly gave us some great testimony. And of course, Barbara is doing the legal beagle piece. I want to let you know that last Tuesday, the Aurora City Council voted to appeal Marion County's approval of the TLM application to LUBA. So we'll have two LUBA appeals going, and we wanted to let you know that and invite your participation in this new LUBA appeal in any way that you would see fit. In short, the city's position continues to be that geographic expansion of the airport should only happen after the airport is annexed into Aurora, for the simple reason that it's an urban use, and urban uses are supposed to be in cities. I think you guys are familiar with that, and anyone who isn't familiar, I would just suggest looking at what your city is doing now for Frog Pond. There's no doubt that Frog Pond's development has been planned to happen inside the city. No consideration that such a large urban development would happen outside the city. That's not the way the system's supposed to work, but it is sometimes the way the system works in Marion County. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Council, would you like to ask any questions or any clarifications? Councilor West.
Hi there. Thank you for coming to speak with us. And you do represent, you're coming on behalf of your council, directed you to come and speak with us?
Yes.
Okay. And are we talking about the extension of the runway? Or are we talking about the development outside of the runway in Aurora for the office and business area?
We're not talking about the runway extension. Our cities both filed a LUBA appeal on that last November, which is, stuck in delays over the record. So this is a new appeal regarding a property on the east side of the airport. It's 16.5 acres that until a couple years ago was wooded and was a church camp back in the day. And it has been purchased by a developer and who's now applied to Marion County to essentially change the zoning to allow urban development.
Thank you for clarifying that the owner is a citizen of Wilisonville. Is this church camp area that's been there for a while now, is it in the jurisdiction right now of Aurora or Wilisonville?
No, it is in Marion County, but it is subject to the IGA that the city of Aurora has with Marion County. Is called an area of special interest in that IGA.
So you were asking us to take action with you when one of our citizens is looking to do an advancement that was already approved by another county that it sits in that's not in either one of our jurisdictions. Am I correct?
Yes, and I would add that I think you'll find many of your citizens in the Charbonneau area especially are quite concerned about the activities that are admittedly outside your jurisdiction.
Would you not agree that the traffic for that development goes south in the morning and north in the evening when traffic is at its least in those directions, and that this complex could provide living wage jobs to the area when we're enduring a pandemic and a horrible economic downturn? And this individual also happens to be an upstanding citizen of Wilisonville. So I'm trying to see why you think we should join in your efforts based on that information.
Because while all of those things are laudable, I don't think they justify exceptions to the land use rules. And I'm a believer in land use. The city of Aurora is a believer in land use. The city of Wilisonville is a believer of land use. So from our perspective, you know, we have a fundamental disagreement with Marion County. And when you have a disagreement like that, you go to the Land Use Board of Appeals. So we'll get an objective order from them. And I would suggest that you read that when it comes out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor LEHAN.
Well, our previous discussion was regarding reading that and decision when it comes out and having a further in-depth discussion about it. But I do want to point out that the issue for Wilisonville, the impact on Wilisonville businesses, is that Wilisonville businesses, all of them, just like the Frog Pond developers, pay SDCs. They pay impacts for roads, impacts for water, for sewer, for parks, etc. Developments outside of cities pay no SDCs. And that puts our businesses in Basalt Creek and Coffee Creek and the rest of the city at a disadvantage because if you get to build an industrial development, an office expansion out in the county without any SDCs, then that's a free ride that our businesses are not getting. And our businesses are paying for their impacts to the roads and to the infrastructure and systems. So it's an important consideration. And while I wouldn't necessarily agree with expanding the airport, to the degree that it's going to be expanded or that there are going to be expansions that are urban in nature, I am fully in support of Oregon land use law that says urban expansion should occur in urban areas, which is inside of cities. Wilisonville has been very strict about that for its whole history. We do not provide water, we do not provide sewer, we don't provide anything outside of the city of Wilisonville. If you want to get those things, you have to come in the city and participate with the rest of our businesses. And that's an important point for us to keep in mind in terms of this. But the specifics of this decision, I know, are coming before us. We have not had a chance to see them. Our attorney has not had a chance to see them. And we need to take a look at them and then see where we want to participate or not going forward.
Thank you. I would say those remarks are very consistent with how Aurora feels. I would just point out for some folks who may not be familiar, about 5 or 6 years ago, the state legislature passed a special bill that would allow essentially the city of Aurora to extend water and sewer service out to the airport without annexation. And the city has decided that no, it's annexation and water and sewer or nothing. Essentially, you need to annex.
That's the position that the city of Wilisonville took. Our only exception is the rest area on I-5. We even made Metro annex to get water and sewer to their bathrooms on Graham Oaks. So we are very, very strict about that. And I commend Aurora for doing that as well.
Yes, and to your point about the business competition, I would add that a few years ago when they tried to get an exemption for the runway extension, there's a nice letter in the record from Chuck Bennett, the mayor of Salem, making the point that, hey, they've got vacant land available at the Salem airport, and it would be unfair competition to expand the Aurora Airport for all the reasons you just described.
Well, I appreciate the information, and we will consider it when we have further presentation and documents from staff, and we will have to have a discussion at that time and decide what our position is. But in the meantime, we appreciate you bringing forward your information to add to that.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay. That will bring us to then citizens input and community announcements, which is an opportunity for visitors to address City Council on things not on the agenda. Also a time to address things that are on the agenda but not scheduled for public hearing. Council will make every effort to respond to such questions raised at this time, either before the meeting ends or as soon as possible thereafter. Do we have anyone wanting to give public input?
Yes, Mayor, we have two gentlemen here in person and one virtual, so we're going to do the two in-person ones because they've been patiently waiting. And so we'll ask the gentleman in the red shirt to step up first.
Okay, that's good. We do ask each person giving public input to limit your timing to 3 minutes, and we have a little red light, yelp, green light system so that you'll know where you're at on your 3 minutes. So please.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
I'm Tony Helbling, president of the PAM group out at the airport, group of operators that work with surrounding communities on safety and noise issues at the airport. I'd like to know how much the city has spent researching and writing this 4-page letter to the FAA contesting the environmental assessment of the run-up area construction and normal tree maintenance for the approach. I'm questioning how much money was spent on legal counsel, administrative staff, and city equipment to develop and document and submit to the FAA, fighting against a run-up area that is standard at airports throughout the nation. I'm requesting the amount of tax dollars wasted fighting the cutting of trees that are literally growing up into the protected space above the runway protection zone for approaching aircraft that are landing at the airport. This type of tree maintenance is done at airports all over the nation, has been done before here at the Aurora State Airport. The runway has been here since 1943. This is not the first time the trees have been trimmed or cut. Why are you paying Wilisonville staff, why are you paying with Wilisonville tax dollars to fight safety and normal operations of an existing airport? I know you won't answer me now, but you're gonna have to answer to the citizens of Wilisonville. Thank you, and I'll leave this with staff.
And did we get the?
Can I clarify, sir? Can I make a clarification?
For the record?
Yeah, can you come back to the microphone because we have to get it on record? What? Your response, I need to get on the record. Is your letter making a public records request? Is that what you're requesting to do?
No, I'm just entering it into the record.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Did we get the identification information? Because I don't have slips here when I'm remote, obviously.
Yes, we have everything we need, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next.
Good afternoon. I'm Bruce Bennett with Aurora Aviation. I prepared a 2-minute and 45-second speech on the Aurora Airport and economic development, but I'd like to just submit that, leave it with you for your review, and just point out that I'm really disappointed by the city's spending money fighting safety, fighting airport, fighting jobs at the airport. I can't imagine, honestly, why, if it's a political game or something that I don't understand, but the Aurora Airport has been there since 1943. The recent development is one of the most potential customers is a Wilisonville business that literally saves lives, and your spending money adds to the cost of those developments. And I heard the city of Aurora, it's really important to get the facts. There's a lot of misinformation. The Aurora Airport uses 0 drops of water. We have our own sewer system. We have a $776,000 fire suppression system. It's on the airport, paid for by the airport. So we're not urban at all. We don't want to be in the city. That's what destroys an airport, is city growing up around it. The reason Aurora is successful, it's got agriculture around it. We don't want houses being built off the end of the runway and then people complaining about the sound of the airport. So anyway, it is, again, very disappointing to have a city that benefits so greatly from the airport. Beyond the lives saved and forest fires fought, just most of your businesses use the airport. And to spend money against it completely eludes me. Thank you. And do you have any questions?
I'll take your written.
Thank you. Just one copy or?
Yeah, and then we'll provide a copy to council. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have Wayne Richards, Chair of the Charbonneau Country Club Civic Affairs Committee, over Zoom.
Please.
I am unmuted. Do I have a picture somewhere?
No.
It's okay if I don't. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor Knapp and City Councilors AKERVALL, LEHAN, West, and LINVILLE. And I so very much appreciate the honor of speaking with you this evening. I think you're doing an amazing job. First, I'd like to thank Joseph Schaefer of the City of Aurora. I'd also like to thank Thousand Friends of Oregon, Friends of French Prairie, and especially the City of Wilisonville for their support and hard work on the LUB action regarding the development of the Aurora State Airport. It is, and the reason is that it's important that the Aurora State Airport follow the rules voted on and passed by Senate Bill 100, Oregon Land Use Goals. The bill requires that any development adhere to the 19 rules outlined. Aurora State Airport complies with none. Specifically, Wilisonville is an affected community, and the bill requires an intergovernmental agreement with Wilisonville. Wilisonville doesn't have one. All development projects must have Oregon State agency coordinations, things like surface traffic. I was intrigued by Mr. Delata's surface traffic emissions. I got just a few minutes here, but think of surface traffic, municipal oversight, environmental quality, exclusive farm use land protection. All these things just need to be addressed. The Aurora State Airport doesn't have state agency coordination in many areas. Pollution, for instance. Not just noise, but when an airplane burns fuel, it pollutes the air primarily with lead, and no amount of lead is safe. The FAA says that. Jet fuel combustion creates 11 toxic elements. Traffic on surrounding surface roads is already so stressed with 4 deaths this year. And we're talking about safety, and we're going to put more people out there at the airport on Airport Road and on Ellen Road and on Miley Road and on 551. These things are major factors for our quality of life, safety, and for our property values. The Aurora State Airport does many good things, just as it is. Please address the land use issues before any expansion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the input. Is that it, or are there any others, Mr. Cosgrove?
That's all we have, Mayor.
All right, so we'll have all that information brought back to us when we get this topic in front for discussion, right?
Correct.
Okay, that will then bring us to our councilor comments, liaison reports, and meeting announcements. And I would invite Councilor President AKERVALL, first of all.
Thank you. I had a couple events that I wanted to draw attention to that are occurring in the next period between today's meeting and our next council meeting. One of them is actually kind of a series of events that's been happening all month with our Parks and Rec department, and that's the Chalk the Park event. And I participated the last 2 weeks, and it was delightful. They have done it in a way that social distancing can be maintained, and I observed several kids enjoying their summer, and that's something that I feel like we've been lacking the last couple of months. So thank you to Parks and Rec for that event, and there's still 2 more weeks that people can join in. The other thing I wanted to talk about, is the task force meeting that we recently had for the I-5 pedestrian bridge. I appreciated the citizens that were able to attend that, and it was good to hear the feedback from the community on that project. I also appreciated the translation services that were available in those open houses this last week, and was able to attend 2 of the different open houses there. I believe this will happen before our next council meeting, because we do have the Labor Day weekend. School is going to be starting again, so this will be the end of summer. But originally we had planned to start school on August 31st. That date has been changed, and since that has been changed, I know there's some new families to our district, and maybe families where their children are just starting in the district. I think it's important that we help spread that information. There's more details on the school district's website. And in the same breath, I want to wish everyone the best of luck this school year. I think there's been so many challenges in the schools for the administration, for teachers, for families, certainly for kids, and my family included in that group. I wish us all strength and persistence for this coming school year. School right now calls for tremendous flexibility, and that's for everyone involved. So this community really values education. I think it's a common value for Wilisonville, and please know that while you're facing these challenges, these demands, all the flexibility that's going to be required for this coming year, know that you have a squad of people cheering you on to get through. So we're going to start something that's going to look certainly very different, and it will be hard, but you're not alone. So good luck to all of our Wilisonville kiddos that are going to be starting school here in just the next few weeks. And finally, I wanted to announce a listening session that Clackamas County is doing this coming Wednesday. And there's more details on their website. It will be held via Zoom at 6 p.m. And I'm hoping to attend that as well as an opportunity to listen. So that's what I have to share for our meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilor LEHAN.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our the people who are the servers and the cooks and in our restaurants in Wilisonville. Since we have started opening up again, I've done the best I could to try to go to some of our restaurants, and especially the ones that have outdoor seating, and trying them out again. But in every case, the servers are just over the top attentive, and they're doing all this work with their masks and social distancing and extra cleaning, and they're in the best of mood all the time. So I've been very impressed with that, because I get annoyed wearing a mask for more than an hour or two, and they're wearing it for their whole shift. And so I just wanted to say, I think no matter what restaurant you might stop and attend, and I would encourage you to do so, really appreciate the people who are doing this work. That's all.
Thank you. Councilor West.
And I am. There, can you hear me now? This Saturday, I had the honor to go with my family to the Real Action Community event at Montague Park here in Villebois, put together by Trey Hester and Letitia Perez. They are fantastic people. It was cool because important community conversations around a lot of the unrest we're seeing in the metro area and across the country. A lot of these conversations we get to have in our own home as a family, but it's the first time I took my son to an event like that. And it was hot and it was muggy and it was blistering at times, but people endured it. And the ones that were comfortable to come out and sit, people socially distanced, they wear their masks. It was an honor to be able to give some remarks and say a few words. And just be there with other people. Councilor LINVILLE was there, Councilor AKERVALL was there, and it was great to see you guys at a community event together. I appreciated that. So that was kind of the highlight over the last couple of weeks for me with city council stuff and just as a dad in the community and somebody that really cares about these issues. So I want to give a big shout out to the people who put that on. This is our second event. The first one was, it was coming down sideways like cats and dogs in the rain, and they huddled under a shelter and had this conversation. And this one, it was like the surface of the sun. But it was a great event. It was good people and good conversation, and a lot of people showed everybody had good respect for one another, and I really appreciate it. So Trey and Letitia, thank you very, very, very much for you helping our community engage in these conversations that are also happening across the country. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Councilor Linville.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a few comments. I wanted to just piggyback on what Council President AKERVALL had to say about the listening series, the listening session that Clackamas County is going to do. And I don't know why my video went away.
Yeah, there you go.
There. I don't know why that went away. But that session is at 6 o'clock at night, and that is one of the ideas that I had put forward in our one of our June council meetings, was us to, for our council to try and figure out how we might do a listening session as well. So this might be a very good opportunity for us to get a look at how Clackamas County is going to do that. I am involved with the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Strategic Task Force, as is Councilor LEHAN. And we met on the 21st, and our next meeting will be on the 28th of, we met on the 21st of July, and our next meeting is the 28th. Also, I need to give a real shout out to Mark Odnad and the staff, because with the consultant that's working with the task force, they have had conversations about the needs in our community with youth and with our Latinx population. And that input, and in addition to the surveys that are out, are really, I think, going to inform our community on how we can really expand the art, culture and heritage opportunities for Wilisonville. There is a comment, the comment period has been extended out to the 23rd of August, and so we're asking people to participate on Let's Talk Wilisonville on the surveys that are out there as well. And then I listened in on the 11th of August to Congressman Schrader's presentation. It was only half an hour, but it was really good to have him connect with Clackamas County and in a distant way with us. So, and to keep kind of in contact with what's going on with us. And then I wanted to just let you all know that I am registered for the 9-week eviction crisis workshop that is going to be done on Wednesday, 9 consecutive Wednesdays, beginning tomorrow. And it is being put on by an organization called Rethinking Homelessness. And I believe we all got invitations to that. And that 9-week course or webinar is only going to be half an hour on Wednesdays. And it's really intended to help communities create some new strategies to prevent the widespread eviction and homelessness as a result of COVID-19 that is anticipated, particularly when all of the rent and mortgage deferments come due and people are unable to pay the rent that they or their mortgage payments that now have possibly been deferred for 6 or more months. And it's a crisis that I think we need to begin to talk about. So it's certainly of concern to me. So I'm hoping to learn some things that maybe we can bring back to our conversations here on the council. And those are my comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, all of the council, for your comments. Appreciate those perspectives. That will bring us to our consent agenda, where we have a variety of things that we will ask to be read, and then we will ask for a motion. We did have a discussion earlier about removing the minutes for June 1st, 2020 from the list, if we get to that point. Could we ask for consent agenda to be read, please?
Resolution number 2835, a resolution of the City of Wilsonville authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with Banzer Construction Company for construction of the I-5 Undercrossing Trail Improvement Phase 2. Resolution number 2837, a resolution to allocate community enhancement funds for fiscal year 2020-2021. Resolution number 2838, a resolution of the City of Wilsonville approving the city's membership in the Regional Water Providers Consortium. Resolution number 2840, a resolution of the City of Wilsonville authorizing the city manager to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Willamette Water Supply System Commission for the Willamette River Water Treatment Plant Filtration Pilot Study. Finally, minutes of May 20, 2019, June 3 and 17, 2019, July 1 and 15, 2019, August 5 and 19, 2019, October 7, 2019, November 18, 2019, December 2, 2019, January 6 and 23, 2020, February 3 and 18, 2020, August 3, 2020.
Okay, so by not reading the other one, we don't need special action from council?
Well, that'll go on to new business, so you'll just read that one alone. The correction will be made and discussed, and then a vote will occur.
So is there a motion on consent as read? Councilor LEHAN.
Your Honor, I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
And second by Councilor AKERVALL.
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you very much. All in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimous, 5-0. Thank you very much. That then does bring us to new business, where we have the 1 minutes item that was removed, minutes of June 1st, 2020. And I think we have potential discussion on this item. LINVILLE.
Your Honor, I would just like to make a correction to the minutes under Councilor comments on page 6 of 9. On the last sentence, I believe that statement was actually attributed to you, Your Honor, and that I didn't make that wonderful suggestion. That was not mine, but I did make a suggestion that the council that the council attempt to facilitate a listening session for our citizens, particularly those of color, in some way so that we can hear their lived experiences.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of June 1st, 2020 with the additional corrections as outlined by Councilor Linville?
Understand the correction? Do you not understand?
Someone else want to do it? Your Honor, I move to approve the minutes of, now I forgot it.
June 1st?
June 1st.
June 1st. As amended.
Can you make explicit what it is you think needs to change?
The last sentence under my counselor comment, where it says she thought it would be beneficial for the council to have some training on perceptions, I did not make that statement. I believe that statement was made by the mayor.
Okay, so we will reattribute that to Mayor Knapp suggested.
Yes,
okay.
And my statement was a request that the council consider facilitating a listening session on the lived experiences of our citizens of color.
Did you get that? Okay, thank you.
All right, so now we can...
My motion was to approve those minutes as corrected by Councilor Linville.
Thank you, Councilor LEHAN, for the motion. Second?
I'll second.
Councilor Linville, seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye? Okay, full agreement on those minutes as corrected now. That brings us to continuing business, which there is none, public hearings, which there are none, and then city manager's business.
One event to bring to your attention, Mayor and Council, we are going to have a shredding event, and I'm going to pull it up here so I get the right date and time. We've identified a need for a shredding event, and we're going to have that on Saturday, September 26th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at City Hall in our parking lot. And we will be advertising that through our normal channels. But if you all want to get that out to your networks as well, that would help us get the word out. I'm sure folks have done a lot of garage cleaning during this lockdown, so we will accept all of your paperwork.
So that's not a skateboard event, right?
That is not a skateboard event, no. And then one other item I just wanted to bring up to council's attention.
Could you just repeat the date?
Sure.
Again,
Yes.
date and time.
I'll speak slowly. Hang on. Saturday, September 26th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it will be in the City Hall parking lot. And there's just one other item I wanted to bring to your attention. We recently conducted a survey of our employees. We had over 100 responses, which is remarkable. It's over 50% of our employees responding. We were asking questions about COVID and any anxieties or concerns about the upcoming school year. We're going to be conducting some stakeholder, some kind of focus group interviews of employees that fit into different buckets to try and figure out how we can help our employees who have school-age children, you know, still be productive in the workplace and still have an opportunity to deal with the fact that most of their kids, if not all of them, will not be attending in school. So we're doing our best that we can on that, so we'll see where that ends up. And I'll give you updates as we go along. And that's all I have.
That sounds real good. Yeah, that sounds real good. Any legal business?
No.
You got all that from 5 to 6.
And is there anything else that pleased the council that we should deal with tonight? All right, I guess Councilor Linville, something?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I'm sitting in the dark because tonight is a PGE peak event. And so I have all of my power except my computer off. So if it looks like I'm in the dark tonight, I am.
That's good, because there's large parts of California that are doing mandatory blackouts, so good for you.
Yeah. All right. We will wrap it up then for tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good evening.
Take care. Stay cool.
Hi, guys.